Hi, welcome back to my channel. For anybody who's new, my name is Zaylee. Thank you so much for watching. Now, today's video is going to be something so different to what I usually film. So usually I do a lot of makeup and hair tutorials, and I'm going to do something completely different today. I'm going to talk about how I increased my breast milk supply, which you obviously saw from the title. So I've actually had a really long break from YouTube. It's been like 9 months or more since I filmed. I barely filmed at all throughout my pregnancy, and my little girl is now 6 weeks old, and this is the first video that I have filmed. So I'm going to try not to ramble, get straight to the point. I don't want this to be a million miles long for you guys, so let's just get stuck straight into it. So I had a really low supply in the beginning. My daughter was born at 36 weeks by emergency C-section. So she had really low fluid levels around her. During a routine check, her heart rate had dropped to below 50 for 2 minutes, and then she had abnormal Dopplers when I went for a Doppler checkup, all in the one day. So it was decided that she needed to be born via emergency C-section, and so on Friday the 17th of April she was born by C-section. So because that happened, my body never actually had a chance to labor. And what was explained to me is that when you labor, your brain tells your boobs, or it tells your body, that you need to start making milk. There is a baby coming. So I never labored, so I had quite a delay in my breast milk coming in, and because I had what's called a late preterm baby at 36 weeks here in Australia, it's called a late preterm baby. We had issues with feeding, so she would constantly fall asleep at the breast. She didn't latch very well. So we had issues kind of straight from the beginning as far as breastfeeding went. So it was a bit of a struggle, but 6 weeks in, and I feel like we have finally started to get there. So I want to tell you guys exactly what I had done. So first things first was, as far as getting her on the breast, because, that was the first thing, is I ended up feeding with nipple shields. I still do, starting to wean them off, but that actually helped keep her on. So a nipple shield looks like this. It's just like this rubbery kind of piece of silicone. I think it's made out of silicone, and it is kind of in the shape of a nipple, I guess you could say, and it's got these little holes just out this bit here. You just put it over the nipple, and it helps baby get a much better latch. So that was able to just get her on, because without that I don't think I would have been able to establish breastfeeding at all, because she just really struggled to stay on, get a good latch, because she was so little. Like, she was born early and she was a little baby. She was only 5 pounds 6 or 2.5 kilos. She just had a lot of trouble getting on, and I was told, by the pediatricians, that was very normal, that little babies that are born early can struggle with the breastfeeding because their little mouths, have a hard time with the latching. So that was the first thing that I done, was fed with a shield just to be able to get her on. So I definitely recommend, speaking to a pediatrician, a lactation consultant, somebody like that, before you just start using the shields. Only because there's I'm a first-time mum, but I have read some people say that it can reduce your supply long-term, stuff like that. I actually have not found that to be the case. I'm 6 weeks in and my supply is just constantly increasing. So I personally don't feel like that, but if you do read about nipple shields and you see that, maybe speak to somebody before you start to use them. But that was great in just actually getting baby onto the breast. How it generally works is supply and demand. So everything that bub takes out, your body knows that it needs to create that amount. So because my baby was only staying on for such short periods of time, she was constantly falling asleep at the breast, she was only getting such small amounts of food. So in the beginning, within the first 2 weeks, I had to breastfeed her for as long as she would go on for. Sometimes it was, 6 minutes, sometimes it was, 15 minutes. And then when she was done feeding, I was hand expressing what I could out afterwards. And so I'd done that for about 2 weeks. So we were in the hospital for almost a week. We were readmitted not long after discharge back into special care because she had jaundice. But once we got home and we were starting to get more established, that's what I was doing. So I was breastfeeding her for as long as she would. I was hand expressing, and then I had to feed her what I had hand expressed through a syringe, just trying to get that weight on her. So it was a bit of a struggle from the beginning, and her weight gain wasn't great, so that sucked. So I really wanted to do what I could to increase my supply. So what I had initially done is, after like hand expressing for 2 weeks, I was so done with that. I was like, this isn't working for me. What else can I do? I decided I wanted to get a breast pump, but I wasn't willing to just go out and spend the money on them because they're quite expensive, like hundreds of dollars worth. So I actually hired a pump through the Australian Breastfeeding Association. So every town, if you live in Australia, has ABA, or that if you're in a really, really small town, like here where I live, they also, because we're a bigger town, the smaller surrounding towns, they do as well. So I hired a pump through them. I didn't even have the pump for a week and I was completely sold. I was like, wow, I was able to, you know, went from hand expressing to sometimes only 5 mil to expressing, you know, 10, 20 mil from this pump, and it was a hospital grade pump. So I was like, okay, this is fabulous. I need to get a pump. So I ended up buying the Spectra S2 breast pump. So this is considered a hospital grade pump, and it is a double pump. I highly recommend getting a double pump over a single pump. It just saves so much more time. If you're going to be pumping all the time, which to increase your supply, kind of what you need to do, I would get a double pump. This one has some great features as well, as far as your different settings, so settings that mimic the way baby sucks and things like that to help with the letdown. I'll let you guys do your own research as far as pumps go, but the very first thing that you'll need to do is get a breast pump. I want to quickly, before I keep going into the pump, just talk about lactation, like increasing supplies, because I have been using those as well, but I feel like they've helped, but the pump was everything. So just quickly on the supplies, I've also, from about 3 weeks in, taken fenugreek every single day. So this is considered a supplement that helps with increasing breast supply. So I take 3 of these a day, one like morning, middle of the day, and dinner time. And it's meant to also aid in healthy digestion as well as increase the breast supply. So I've been taking this, and then I also have been using, eating your lactation cookies. So I've tried a few different brands. This is just the one I'm using right now, which is the Pinkies Booby Bickies. So these Booby Bickies have things like oats, brewer's yeast, and flaxseed in them, which are all, once again, things that help aid in your breast supply. So I'm actually thinking about making my own cookies. I've been buying, like, I usually go through about a box a week, because there's generally only 10, or like a week and a half. I generally only have one a day, but they can be expensive. So I'm considering just actually making my own, but I do feel like these have definitely helped helped aid in an increase in supply. But a pump has been where it's really been out for me to really kind of get there. So after hiring the pump and seeing how well, like how much more I was able to kind of get out, I was sold. So I got my pump. So the first thing that I done when I got my pump that I brought was I power pumped. So I done a bit of research and I power pumped for about 3 days, 3 times a day. So to power pump, I pumped for 20 minutes, rested for 10, pumped for 10 minutes, rested for 10, and then pumped for 10 minutes again. So I've done that 3 times a day for about 3 days. And after that, wow, did I start to see an increase in a supply. So that's, if you're really, really dwindling, I highly suggest doing a power pump. It's just going to help kickstart your supply into gear. And then, so after, another thing that I've done after getting the pump is, so after every feed, so I put bub on the breast, and then after every feed I would pump, and that would just help completely drain the breast, because once again, supply and demand. So by taking and completely draining the breast out, it's making my body realize, okay, well, you've got to make, you know, more. This is how much you've taken out, this is how much you have to put back in or create, or however it works in here. And like I said, like my baby wasn't staying on for very long, so I was able to feed her more, because after pumping I could offer her that breast milk, but she was just too tired in the beginning to stay on for longer periods, enough time to kind of really drain the breast. So for about 2 weeks after getting the pump. Like I said, power pumped, and then after every feed I would pump, and I'd done that all the way through to the night too. So we done 3-hourly feeds, and after every feed, which was so draining, but I pumped, and it just really helped get that supply up. Now that I'm this far in, I honestly haven't done a pump through the night in probably like 2.5 weeks at this stage. My supply has increased enough that I've been able to drop the night pumping, which has been great for my sanity, because I really kind of needed the sleep. Like, even though like I needed to establish my milk supply, but now that it's established, I need the sleep more. So now after our nighttime feeds, I don't pump anymore, but after every daytime feed, I feed for as long as she'll stay on for, and then I pump. So that has really just helped get my supply going, because yeah, my body didn't have enough time to go, hey, there's a baby coming, you need to start making milk. I never got to labor, those hormones never got to release through my body, and then I had a baby who wasn't that great at latching, or wouldn't stay on very long because she was little and preemie, and you know, had a really hard time. So now that we're 6 weeks in, things are getting so much better. Like I said, I'm still feeding with the Shields just to help with the latch, starting to wean her off that. And this far in now, I just pump after every day, after every feed, and that's how I've been able to increase my supply. And so much so that because my baby stays on so much longer now, I don't have to offer her the top-ups after the feeds. So we had to do that to get the weight on her. So like I said, I'd breastfeed her, and then I'd express, and then I'd give her the express milk. But now that she's been able to stay on the breast for so much longer and I'm pumping, she doesn't need what I pump anymore, because she's full, like she's getting enough. But I still want to do this because I want to keep my breast supply at a maximum. I'm being able now to freeze breast milk, which is great. So now down the track, as my baby gets older, or if I need to go out, I can just defrost the breast milk, and my hubby can help out. He can feed her through a bottle. I'm really lucky that my daughter has been able to take to the breast and the bottle, go back and forth from the two, and not have a preference over one or the other. She was always happy to take the bottle or to be on the boob, and not, I know some babies, you know, have issues with that. So I've been so lucky with that. So yeah, I now am just freezing all of my breast milk just to have a supply down the track for when she gets older and mommy needs some time to herself. So it's been crazy having a baby during the coronavirus pandemic, not having people being able to come visit, having low breast milk supply. Like it's been a bit of a journey, but I'm 6 weeks in, and yeah, I'm starting to feel so much more confident about it. I am a first-time mummy, and this is just how I have increased my supply. I would suggest doing your research, getting a pump that you love. I do have my pump here. I just thought I'd show you guys the box a little bit easier, but do your research, get a pump that you think that works. I highly suggest the Spectra S2. If you guys want to see a video on purchases, maybe purchases for first-time mums that are worth your money, that you should probably invest in, let me know down below. If you actually enjoyed this style of video, let me know. I still definitely want to continue to film like hair and makeup stuff, because it's always been a passion of mine. But I've enjoyed filming something completely different today. So if you guys have enjoyed this too, then let me know. I'm happy to continue going through this journey with everyone else. So yeah, that's how I've increased my supply. Highly suggest power pumping. Look into it. Really works. And yeah, just pumping after every feed. It's really hard in the beginning when you're pumping up at night time, like you're just so tired, but after, it's only for such a short time. So just hang in there, get through it, and then you can drop those nighttime pumps, and you know, 15 minutes of a double pump after a feed is nothing. And it just to see that supply come in, see Bub getting so much more, see your baby, you know, it's just so nice to see, because there's nothing worse, or at least for me, I was even having nightmares that my baby wasn't getting enough to eat, that she wasn't being fed. So to see that my supply is just drastically increased and see her weight constantly going up, it's just, yeah, it's just been nice. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I've already rambled on long enough. So yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let me know down below if you've enjoyed this video, or if you have any tips on how to increase your breast milk supply. But that's what I've done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.